Welcome back to BMB Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the issue brewing between Hope Logan and Steffi Forrester that's sending shockwaves through the halls of Forrester Creations. The tension between these two fashion powerhouses has reached a boiling point that threatens to reshape the entire company landscape. The feud between Hope and Steffi is about to soar to unprecedented heights as they prepare for what might be their most explosive confrontation yet. Industry insiders predict this clash could fundamentally alter the power dynamics at Forrester Creations for years to come. Fashion analysts have begun speculating about potential outcomes, with some suggesting this could lead to a complete restructuring of the company's creative departments. The intensity of their rivalry has captivated longtime followers of the fashion house, who recognize that the personal history between these two women adds layers of complexity to their professional disagreements. Hope previously made a bold declaration that she could no longer tolerate working under Steffi's authority, establishing a clear boundary that now faces a severe test. This stance represented a significant evolution in Hope's professional confidence, moving away from the more accommodating approach she had taken in previous years. The transformation in Hope's professional demeanor has been noted by industry observers who have followed her career trajectory from her early days as a fashion newcomer to her current position as a line leader. This development in Hope's character reflects broader themes of empowerment and self-advocacy that resonate with many in the fashion world. With Carter Walton's surprising decision to tear up the LLC papers, the Forrester family has regained their controlling interest in the company, though with the significant caveat that hope for the future would remain active. Carter's change of heart came as a shock to many company insiders who had believed his alliance with Hope was unshakable. His decision appears to have been influenced by complex factors including loyalty to the Forrester legacy and concerns about the long-term stability of the company under divided leadership. The legal maneuver represents a delicate compromise that attempts to balance competing interests while preserving the company's creative diversity. When Steffi learns about the condition protecting Hope's line, she erupts in fury, convinced that Hope manipulated Carter into the initial takeover attempt. Steffi's reaction stems from a deep-seated distrust that has been building for years, fueled by personal conflicts and professional competition. Her emotional response reflects her passionate commitment to protecting what she sees as her family's rightful heritage. The intensity of Steffi's reaction has raised concerns among some board members about how personal animosities might be affecting business decisions at the highest levels of the company. Despite Steffi's objections, Ridge and Eric may be inclined to accept the compromise, particularly if Hope for the future is finally showing promising financial results. The elder Forresters bring decades of industry experience to this decision, having weathered numerous internal conflicts and market challenges throughout their careers. Their willingness to consider pragmatic solutions over family loyalty represents the complex balancing act required of leadership in family-owned businesses. Industry experts note that their approach demonstrates a sophisticated understanding of how creative tensions can sometimes drive innovation when properly managed. Steffi, however, appears determined to remove Hope from the company entirely, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation between these longtime rivals. Her campaign against Hope has begun to attract attention from fashion media, with some questioning whether personal vendettas are overshadowing business considerations. The intensity of Steffi's opposition has surprised even those who have long been aware of the tension between the two women. Some company employees have privately expressed concerns about how this conflict might affect workplace morale and creative collaboration across departments. Hope will undoubtedly resist any attempt to diminish her role, especially after briefly experiencing increased authority during Carter's short-lived takeover. The psychological impact of having tasted greater power only to face potential demotion has strengthened Hope's resolve to fight for her position. Marketing analysts have noted that Hope's public persona and brand identity have become increasingly assertive, reflecting her behind-the-scenes battles. This evolution in her professional identity has resonated with her customer base, potentially adding commercial considerations to what might otherwise be dismissed as merely personal conflict. The question remains whether Hope will ultimately accept a subordinate position under Steffi to save her fashion line, or if she'll find another path forward that preserves both her creative vision and professional dignity. Fashion industry veterans recognize this as a classic dilemma faced by creative professionals, compromising autonomy for institutional support or risking everything for creative independence. The resolution of this conflict could establish an important precedent for how the company handles internal power struggles in the future, potentially influencing its corporate culture for years to come. As these two fashion powerhouses prepare for their confrontation, the entire Forrester Creations ecosystem watches with bated breath, knowing that the outcome will reshape relationships and power structures throughout the company. The anticipation has created a palpable tension in design studios and executive offices alike, with employees carefully navigating the political landscape to avoid being caught in the crossfire. Industry observers note that such high-stakes internal conflicts often precede major innovations or restructurings in fashion houses, suggesting that this battle might ultimately lead to creative renewal regardless of who emerges victorious. The upcoming showdown between Steffi and Hope represents more than just a personal conflict. It embodies fundamental questions about legacy, innovation, and the future direction of one of fashion's most storied houses. Fashion historians have already begun drawing parallels to legendary industry conflicts that ultimately defined the trajectories of major design houses in previous decades. The resolution of this particular confrontation may well be studied in fashion business schools as a case study in managing creative conflicts within family-owned luxury brands. Whatever the outcome, it's clear that Forrester Creations stands at a crossroads, with its future identity hanging in the balance as these two determined women prepare to determine not just their own fates, but the legacy of an entire fashion dynasty. Next, we will learn about the dramatic events that unfolded on The Bold and the Beautiful last week, where family tensions reached new heights and unexpected alliances formed in ways that left viewers stunned. The week concluded with a significant moment of reconciliation at Forrester Creations. Friday's episode showcased Ridge and Eric Forrester approaching Carter with what appeared to be an ultimatum, prepared to implement severe consequences if their demands weren't met. The atmosphere in the executive office was charged with tension as years of business relationships hung in the balance. Carter, displaying remarkable business acumen, agreed to end his attempted takeover of the company, but not without securing his own victory. He insisted that the Hope for the Future line remain intact. This strategic negotiation demonstrated Carter's continued loyalty to Hope's vision despite the corporate warfare. Ridge and Eric, relieved to avoid further conflict, not only accepted these terms but also invited Carter to resume his former position, effectively restoring the corporate hierarchy while preserving peace within the fashion house. Interestingly, Hope herself remained completely unaware of these negotiations that directly impacted her professional future, setting the stage for potential conflict when she discovers what transpired without her input. Thursday's developments centered around Bill Spencer's controversial decisions regarding Luna. After publicly defending his protection of Luna against the Forresters and Finnegans with his characteristic unwavering confidence, Bill revealed a different side in private. During an intimate conversation with Luna, he offered both encouragement and stern warnings about her future conduct. However, in a stunning reversal that few viewers anticipated, Bill ultimately asked Luna to leave his mansion. This decision highlighted Bill's complex moral compass, willing to secure her freedom but unwilling to continue harboring her under his roof. The scene was particularly poignant as Luna, having just received a second chance at life, now faced uncertainty about where she would build that new life, effectively demonstrating that even Bill's generosity has limits when it comes to housing someone with Luna's history. Wednesday's episode delivered some of the most intense confrontations of the week. Lee Finnegan, typically composed and controlled, unleashed years of suppressed rage against her sister Poppy in a physical altercation that left viewers shocked. The scene where Lee's hands wrapped around Poppy's throat represented the culmination of decades of family secrets and betrayals. Meanwhile, at Bill Spencer's residence, an equally dramatic scene unfolded when Detective Baker arrived with unprecedented news: Luna would receive a complete pardon for her crimes. This legal miracle, orchestrated by Bill's influence, eliminated even the need for an ankle monitor, effectively erasing Luna's criminal status entirely. The reactions around the room captured the moral complexity of the situation, with Baker himself, a veteran law enforcement officer who prided himself on having seen it all, visibly stunned by this perversion of justice through wealth and influence. Tuesday continued the emotional confrontation between Steffi and Luna, with Steffi coming dangerously close to destroying Luna's future entirely. The verbal sparring between these women represented more than just anger over recent events. It symbolized the fundamental clash between Steffi's unwavering commitment to justice and Luna's desperate attempt at redemption. Each accusation Steffi hurled carried the weight of her family's suffering, while Luna's defenses revealed her growing awareness of the consequences of her actions. The tension built throughout the episode, leaving viewers wondering if Steffi would take actions that might satisfy her need for revenge but potentially compromise her own moral standing. Monday's episode opened with an explosive confrontation as Steffi Forrester confronted Luna and Bill Spencer with unbridled fury. The scene in Bill's lavish living room crackled with tension as Steffi, normally composed and strategic, allowed her raw emotions to dominate. Her outrage at Bill for using his wealth and influence to shield Luna from legal consequences demonstrated Steffi's unwavering sense of justice. When Luna attempted to invoke family connections, Steffi's reaction intensified, rejecting any notion that Luna could still consider herself part of their family circle after her betrayals. The more Bill and Luna attempted to justify their arrangement, the more Steffi's indignation grew, showcasing the actress's remarkable ability to convey escalating emotional intensity while maintaining the character's fundamental strength and dignity. The entire week of March 10th to 14th on The Bold and the Beautiful delivered exceptional drama across multiple storylines. The show masterfully balanced corporate intrigue at Forrester Creations with deeply personal family conflicts among the Finnegans. Bill Spencer's controversial decision to protect Luna despite her crimes created ripple effects throughout the entire canvas, forcing characters to examine their own moral boundaries. The physical confrontation between Lee and Poppy represented one of the show's most shocking moments in recent memory, demonstrating how long-buried family secrets can erupt into violence when finally exposed. Meanwhile, the resolution of the power struggle at Forrester Creations provided a satisfying conclusion to one storyline while cleverly setting up future conflicts, particularly regarding Hope's reaction to decisions made about her line without her knowledge. What makes this week particularly noteworthy is how it showcased the show's ability to weave together multiple storylines while maintaining emotional authenticity for each character. Steffi's righteous anger, Lee's explosive rage, Bill's complex moral calculations, and Carter's strategic maneuvering all reflected consistent character development while pushing each person into new territory. The performances throughout the week demonstrated why this cast continues to earn acclaim, with subtle facial expressions often communicating as much as the dialogue itself. As viewers look ahead to next week, numerous questions remain. Will Luna find a new place to rebuild her life? How will Hope react to Carter's negotiation regarding her line? Can Lee and Poppy repair their relationship after such a violent confrontation? The Bold and the Beautiful has masterfully set the stage for compelling developments while delivering a week of unforgettable drama that will have fans talking for weeks to come. Next, we will learn about the issue brewing within the complex family dynamics on The Bold and the Beautiful, where danger lurks in unexpected places and relationships are tested to their breaking point. The looming threat to Finn's future. The tension between Steffi and Finn has reached unprecedented levels as they navigate the aftermath of Luna's shocking actions. Finn's discomfort was palpable during that pivotal moment when Steffi announced to everyone that he wanted nothing to do with his daughter. His hesitation spoke volumes, the conflict in his eyes betraying his inner turmoil. When Steffi pushed him to take charge of ensuring Luna's permanent incarceration, his reluctance was evident to everyone in the room. This internal struggle mirrors his past difficulties with Sheila, demonstrating a pattern in Finn's character. He finds it nearly impossible to completely sever ties with blood relatives, regardless of their transgressions. The parallel between his relationships with Sheila and Luna suggests that despite Luna's crimes, a part of him still feels a paternal connection that he cannot easily dismiss. Steffi's aggressive stance against Luna creates a wedge between the couple, one that could potentially widen into an insurmountable chasm. Their disagreement over how to handle Luna represents more than just differing opinions. It symbolizes fundamentally different values and approaches to family, forgiveness, and justice. Luna's dangerous ambitions. Luna's psychological profile reveals a young woman driven by deep-seated resentment and a willingness to take extreme measures to achieve her goals. Her previous actions, framing her mother for murder and showing no remorse about potentially condemning Poppy to life imprisonment, demonstrate a disturbing lack of empathy and a calculated approach to eliminating obstacles. What makes Luna particularly dangerous is her combination of intelligence and emotional detachment. She doesn't act on impulse but carefully considers how to manipulate situations to her advantage. Her ultimate objective appears twofold: removing her mother from her life permanently while simultaneously creating an opportunity to forge a relationship with Finn by eliminating Steffi from the equation. The complexity of Luna's character lies in her ability to present a facade of vulnerability while harboring violent intentions. This duality makes her unpredictable and all the more threatening to those around her, especially Poppy, who remains blind to the extent of her daughter's hatred. Poppy's precarious position. Having narrowly escaped Lee's attempt on her life, Poppy now exists in a false sense of security. The irony of her situation is heart-wrenching. While celebrating her survival, she remains oblivious to the fact that her greatest threat comes from her own daughter, the very person she has sacrificed everything to protect throughout her life. Poppy's relationship with Luna has always been strained, characterized by misunderstandings and resentments that have festered over years. Despite her flaws as a mother, Poppy's love for Luna has never wavered, making Luna's betrayal all the more tragic. The emotional distance between mother and daughter has grown into a chasm filled with hostility that may ultimately prove fatal for Poppy. Her vulnerability stems not just from Luna's malice but from her own inability to see her daughter clearly. This maternal blindness, common in soap opera narratives but portrayed with particular poignancy in this storyline, prevents Poppy from taking necessary precautions to protect herself. The potential frame-up. Luna's hypothetical plan to frame Steffi for Poppy's murder would be the culmination of her manipulative tendencies. Such a scheme would require meticulous planning, creating evidence that points to Steffi while establishing an alibi for herself. The psychological warfare involved would be extensive, potentially including planting seeds of Steffi's supposed jealousy and resentment toward Poppy in the minds of those around them. This strategy reflects Luna's understanding of the existing tensions between Steffi and Poppy, particularly regarding Finn. By exploiting these tensions, Luna could create a narrative where Steffi's elimination of Poppy seems plausible to investigators and the community at large. The sophistication required for such a frame-up highlights Luna's intelligence and her dangerous potential. Unlike impulsive crimes of passion, this would be a calculated move designed to permanently reshape her family structure according to her desires. Historical patterns of failure. The Bold and the Beautiful has established a clear pattern regarding frame-ups and murder plots. They inevitably unravel. Luna's previous attempt to frame Poppy collapsed under scrutiny, as did Sugar's effort to implicate Steffi. These failures serve as foreshadowing for the likely outcome of any future schemes Luna might undertake. The soap's narrative structure typically ensures that justice prevails, though often after considerable damage has been done. This pattern suggests that while Luna might temporarily succeed in harming Poppy or casting suspicion on Steffi, her ultimate goal of securing Finn for herself would remain elusive. What makes this situation particularly tragic is that Luna's inability to learn from past mistakes, both her own and others, stems from her irrational thinking. Her emotional wounds have created blind spots that prevent her from accurately assessing risks and consequences, driving her towards self-destruction. The devastating consequences. Should Luna proceed with her plan, the most likely outcome would be her complete isolation. By killing Poppy, she would orphan herself, destroying her last familial connection. Furthermore, any attempt to frame Steffi would likely backfire spectacularly, given that Luna is already under intense scrutiny as a potential threat. The irony of Luna's situation is that her actions to secure Finn's affection would almost certainly cement his determination to have nothing to do with her. Finn's current ambivalence would transform into resolute rejection once he realized the extent of Luna's malice and manipulation.